I'm Sophie Marshall. I'm from New York, and I edited Save Yourselves here at Sundance.
Great. And if you could tell me a little bit about the movie in a couple sentences.
Sure. Yeah, it's about a Brooklyn couple who feel that they're too attached to their devices, their phones. So they decide to go to upstate New York, totally disconnect from the internet, from cell phones. And while they're there, aliens invade the planet and start wreaking havoc. And they don't know because they have no access to communications. So they kind of start to see weird things and then piece things together and then have to deal with how they're going to survive that scenario.
Previously, have you done this kind of work before?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I cut across all genres, but I have done a couple sort of horror comedies and then like some dark comedies, and it's always super fun.
Were you an assistant editor at any point, or did you just...
I wasn't. I had a little bit of a different path.
Okay.
I knew from a very young age that I wanted to edit. I started when I was 14, and I just loved it. And so kind of after college, I knew I don't really want to be an assistant unless I'm my own assistant. I mean, I was absolutely my own assistant for many years, but I'm also very technically minded. So I had all of that knowledge with me so that I could kind of do it myself. So that kind of let me take on super low budget features right from the beginning. And I was able to, my parents helped me out. I'm from New Jersey, so I could stay very close to the city and kind of work that thing. So yeah, I just kind of got straight into features and then made a lot of relationships with those first early low budget ones. And I'm still working with a bunch of those people now.
So you used Final Cut in high school, and then kind of as your career progressed, I assume you touched others.
Yes.
What else did you use?
Well, so it was interesting. At the beginning, I used Final Cut at school, but I didn't yet have a Mac at home. So I used a super early version of Premiere on my PC at home. That was awesome. And then in college, I got into Avid. I went to Boston University, and they were all Avid at the time. And I loved that program. It really changed the way that I thought about how to approach the timeline and how to approach editing. And then kind of since then, it's been an interesting time for seeing what's happening with the different programs. And Premiere has like really gained a strong foothold in the indie scene, especially in New York. And I love it. And I kind of almost use it exclusively. I still know all the others, but it just comes up the most right now.
So then you were in Boston, then you went to New York after college, right after?
Yeah, I'm from right outside the city, so I just kind of came back down. I knew I wanted to try it. I went to LA very briefly, like 6 months. I went out there. It was a very bad time, so I wouldn't say I gave it a fair shot. It was like right when the economy crashed, and there was nothing going out there. But what I did get to do, which was cool, was I was kind of involved with the American Cinema Editors organization out there, and I got to watch editors work. I kind of like was able to come in as an intern and watch people literally just sitting at Avid and cutting. And that was amazing. Just being able to be like, oh, what was that thing that you did? And what was that you did? That like opened my mind again to just a lot of different ways of doing things. It was super valuable. But ultimately I was a New Yorker at heart. So I came back and I've been here since then.
You're like, see you later.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I go out there occasionally, but you know, I try to keep it on the East Coast.
That's cool that you got to sit with editors, because I know a big theme I've noticed this year is like accessibility to people to be able to. When I was coming up too, I had a couple editors that just like, hey, if you want to sit in the back, it's cool, which is obviously amazing. Has anyone approached you for that? Or is I know it's a weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely something that I am into. Another way that I do that is that I have a bunch of assistants that I like to work with over and over again. And for them, I just want them to I want to teach them everything that I know. So I have a series of video tutorials and kind of written instructions that I send them when they come onto a project, and I let them cut scenes if they want to, and then I'll show them my cut and we can compare them that way and just really let them get a sense of how I do things, and I can see how they do things, and we can learn from each other that way. And it's beneficial for me too, because I want it done my way, obviously in the films that I'm working on. So it's and I love just kind of putting that information out there. And I think people can feel they don't always have a picture of the whole process. So if you're able to walk them through why you do things and not just how you do things, then they're finally able to make decisions on their own and be like, oh, I understand why it's set up that way. Here's another idea I had though, and I wonder if that would work. Instead of just saying to someone, well, here's how you do it. I don't know why it's done that way. It's just the way that it is.
Morphing into Premiere a little bit with your assistants, are they the ones that are bringing all the footage in and cataloging it and do you use markers, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's different a little bit for each film, but usually my standard workflow is that it's either the DIT or the assistant. It depends on how busy each of them is. Somebody will sync the footage and make the proxies in Resolve. And from there, it'll always be the assistant importing everything into Premiere, labeling, binning everything. On this most recent project that I'm here with, we kind of for the first time really used markers to the directors and I, the co-directors also know Premiere and they know how to edit a bit. So we were very collaborative in that way and kind of made string outs of each sequence, and we would note the takes like with different colored markers, and they would write what they liked about them. So then we had this pretty cool system where we could just remember, oh, there was that one take that I remember I said this about, and then we could search the text of the markers and go right there and find it. And it was really, really useful, especially because they were in LA and I was in New York, so the whole edit was remote. So in that case, like, it was really valuable to us.
And so you just shipped once you were done with your cut or whatever, you would ship the actual project over to them?
So it was a little, it was a pretty cool setup that we had. They had a copy of the media, I had a copy of the media, and we used Dropbox to host a lot of our stored stuff, like sound effects, music, VFX comps, all of that. We just kept on a shared Dropbox folder, so it was just easy to relink and all that stuff, and we could continually update it every time we put something in the project. We just put it on there. As far as the edit goes, I have this little system that I've kind of come up with that lets us edit, like I could stream my edit to them, basically. So my Premiere preview window would be streaming over, we used Zoom, the kind of video chat software, in real time over to them. And so we could edit in real time with each other for most of the process. So it was almost the same as being in the room together. We could see each other, talk to each other, watch the edit, and almost no latency, kind of just really go through real-time work. We shared all the updated project files, and they would try things. If they had an idea and they wanted me to be working on something else, they would just get in there and try it and then send me that and say, like, here's what I like here, here's what I don't like I couldn't figure this cut out, can you figure that out? And then I would kind of go back into their edit and, you know, spruce it up or whatever. So it was very cool.
How long until you had a rough cut ish?
I think I had a rough cut probably 2 weeks. Well, I had an assembly like very shortly after the production wrapped. And then maybe I probably spent another 2 weeks kind of getting it to the rough cut stage from there. But yeah, it's quick. Like if you have people working while you're shooting, I pretty much am able to keep up as it goes. And then you kind of have something, I mean, it's terrible, but you have something to show very close to the end of production.
That's really good. So when you come in, are you doing your own edit like all the way, or are you taking the script and kind of watching the footage, but also kind of conforming to their thoughts and ideas? How do you...
Yeah, I mean, for the first edit that I'm going to show them, I like to get it as close to the script as possible. I'll almost never cut anything out, like even if there's a line or a scene or something that I really just don't like or don't think is going to work, I won't cut anything out at that phase because I want them to see everything that they shot, everything that they have. And so I'll look at the script, you know, I'll read the scene before I cut it, and then my assistant will have put all of the script supervisor's notes into the bins in Premiere.
Okay.
So I'll be able to see like kind of what they liked on set and what they didn't like, and that's not always obviously doesn't always correlate with what they actually end up liking. It's just what they said in the moment. But I'll go off that a little bit, and I'll try to just get the scene feeling complete and like I pictured it in the script as much as I can. And then from there, I'll send it out back to the directors for kind of 1 or 2 rounds of notes before we usually come back together, just so they can be like very broad strokes. Let's push this character that way. Let's push the tone that way. Let's do this. And then I'll do like another pass or 2. And then from there, it becomes very collaborative. And
so you've been to Sundance before? Okay. So you know how it feels to see your movie in the big lights, but does it ever go away? Like you came here and you see this cut on a small, I presume, smaller screen, and you go up here with an audience, you got the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It's interesting. It depends on how long ago I cut the film. So I can have 2 different experiences. With this one, since we kind of finished it not that long ago, and I watched some of the other finishing processes happen, I still felt very close to it. So when I was watching it, I remembered the cuts. I remembered like the decisions that we made, and had a very close feeling to it. Other films, if they premiere a little further out from the edit, for then, when I watch that, it's like a whole new experience. It's just like, oh, I can't believe we fought so hard over that one thing. It looks great. Or I don't even remember half the things that happened. And it's really like, oh, I'm watching a movie. And I definitely had that. I still have the sense that I'm watching a movie like last night for our premiere. But the best thing about last night was just being there with an audience and hearing them laugh and respond to what's happening on screen. That was the coolest part.
When you were watching it the premiere, were there moments that ever like you didn't know people would laugh, or they didn't laugh and then they laughed a second beat later, and you're like, oh no, was there stuff like that?
I mean, I think like and this is a very good problem to have, but I think the thing that I noticed was that sometimes people were laughing at one joke, and then the laugh covered up another joke that I thought was really funny. But what are you gonna do? I mean, can't really edit for that.
Too funny is good, I guess.
Yeah, it's not really a problem.
Yeah, that's definitely not a problem. So you went to film school. How do you feel about these days film school being so expensive, but also you can find stuff at a library?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on who you are. I think that one of the biggest benefits of going to a film school is just the people that you meet and making connections and continuing to work with those people. You're all kind of at the same level and you're rising at the same level. So it's nice to have a built-in crew whose abilities, you know exactly where they are. It's not like a guess if you're going to hire someone or something. Mm-hmm. But as far as do you need it to teach you the skills? No, I don't think so. I mean, like I said, I started way earlier. Not that I had all the skills that I have now, but I could learn it myself. And now it's even more accessible. I mean, anyone at that time, I had a mini DV camera and it was never going to look good no matter what I did to it. Now you can use your iPhone and you can shoot stuff that looks really cool. So I guess it depends on how motivated you are. If you're already doing it, then just keep doing it. If you feel like you want the structure and you want to make those relationships, then I think it can be useful.